Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today's video will be a book review, and that book review will be on The Orphan Queen by Jodi Meadows. This book was sent to me by HarperCollins, the publisher, in exchange for an honest review, so thank you HarperCollins. I'd like to start out by saying my rating, which is a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and now I will get into my review of it. This book is about a girl named Wilhelmina Corte. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. She is a princess, except her kingdom has been conquered and her parents murdered, and now she is an orphan along with other orphans of royalty from her kingdom. And the kingdom that conquered hers is called the Indigo Kingdom, and now she is a spy, and she is not really a leader, but she's helping her other orphan kids to be spies and thieves and stuff like that to survive, and with the goal in mind is to get her kingdom back and to become the queen. In this world, magic is banned, and if you're using magic, you will be arrested pretty much, and some unknown thing will happen to you. You figure it out later on in the book. This whole book is pretty much about Wilhelmina trying to just get her kingdom back and the steps that she is taking to do that. One of those steps is to go undercover in the palace of the king who conquered her kingdom. So yeah, it's pretty much like any other YA fantasy, and the reason why I gave this book 3.5 out of 5 stars is because it was just so unoriginal to me. From the girl being a princess who is a spy and does not have her kingdom anymore, to the love triangle that is happening. The prince of the kingdom that conquered hers is kind of falling for her, and his bodyguard cousin is falling for her, and she pretty much likes both of those guys. So what does that remind you of? Yeah, that's why I didn't really give this a higher rating, because it was a very unoriginal story. Even the whole thing with the magic being banned, like, that's pretty much in a lot of YA fantasies. So it wasn't an original story. But there was still enough aspects of it that were original that I was able to give it a 3-star rating. It was just an average book for me. I love the characters. The characters are what saved this. Mainly a character named Black Knife, who is a vigilante in this world. He has a mask, so you don't know who he actually is, even though it's pretty obvious. Like, you can kind of guess. But another thing is, like, I guessed who the Black Knife was on around page 40 or something. I just guessed. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. But throughout the entire story, there were, like, indications that it might be somebody else. So I'm glad she still kept me guessing, even though I guessed correctly the first time. So that was a very good aspect of it. Another thing that I didn't really like about it is it didn't really seem like their plan was gonna go very well. Like, it didn't seem very well thought out to me. It seemed like the Wilhelmina going undercover and her friend, who is also undercover with her, it seemed like they kind of really didn't know what they were doing. Like, stuff kind of just fell into their hands pretty much. Like, even though sometimes they went and they snuck around to get the information that they needed, like, the author didn't go in depth about that. Like, she just mentioned that the friend Melanie went off and went into somebody's office to get this information, but we didn't follow Melanie. We didn't know how she did it, and it was literally only a page, maybe even half a page of that being mentioned at all. So it pretty much seemed like everything just fell right into Wilhelmina's lap, and I kind of want a little more. First half of the book, I was enjoying it, don't get me wrong. I love this kind of story, but it was just, like, so unoriginal to me, and it didn't seem well thought out, and it was just average, the first half. But then the second half, I really started to get more into it mainly because of Black Knife, the character. And Wilhelmina actually started to do more stuff, like, on her own. She started to think for herself instead of following the leader of her group, his orders, who, by the way, he's a freaking jerk. Started to think for herself, and she started to do things for herself. Wilhelmina actually has magic, and it's illegal to use it, but another reason why they're not supposed to use it and why it was banned in the first place is because something because of something called the wraith, which is this kind of like a fog magical thing that if you are in it for too long, you kind of start to change. You start to become like a monster, or even animals too are doing this, and it's very deadly in large amounts. And there are things that come out of the wraith that are monsters, like I said, and glow men, who are people who are susceptible to the wraith, who have been in there for too long, and animals like will come out like there's a big giant scorpion at some point. So they always thought that magic caused this wraith, and that's why it was banned like 100 years ago. And that's why it's illegal now to do, and she will do it in small amounts, but somehow she has a feeling that her magic might save the world, pretty much, and stop the wraith. So that's another part of the story. It's her not only trying to get her kingdom back, but also trying to stop the wraith along with Black Knife. Black Knife wants to stop it too. So pretty much throughout the entire book, it was a 3-star rating for me, except for like the last like 50 or so pages. Things just took a turn, and I'm just like, whoa. Things really started to go down, and literally the last page, it was a freaking cliffhanger, and I'm like, why do you do this to me? Why? Cliffhangers are like the worst, especially if something happens to a character and you're like, no, and it could go either way, and like, so it was a cliffhanger, and then I had to bump it up because of that cliffhanger. I just had to, because I did enjoy this book, and I'm sure a lot of other people will enjoy it too, but I would recommend it to people who are new to fantasy, so new to YA fantasy in general, and people who don't mind like reading the same story. So if you don't mind similar books, then I would recommend it for you too. So that was my review of The Orphan Queen by Jodi Meadows. This book just recently came out, I'm pretty sure last Tuesday. Yeah, last Tuesday, and I wanted to read it and get this video uploaded beforehand, but I just couldn't do it with school. But it's up now, yay. Comment down below and tell me if you've read this book already, or if you are planning on buying it and what you thought about it. Please like this video and subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you all next time. Bye! This world has magic in it, except... I wasn't expecting it to be Anyway, shut up.